Okay, folks, it's your buddy Mike Messier. It's Monday morning. I believe it's November 8th. It's always interesting. The first week in November, you have all these historical dates because it's usually election season. So you can look back at the annals of time and see where people were a year ago. And I guess about a year ago, this pro wrestler, and this will be a pro wrestling discussion. So for non wrestling fans, I encourage you to check out other videos on my channel, Messier Mantra, for example. But for the pro wrestling fans, about a year ago, I guess Killer Kross, or Karrion Kross, as he was known in the NXT WWE world, was kicking ass and being the NXT champion and dominating and having great matches. And somewhere in the early part of the summer, I want to say May of 2021. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but we saw the NXT champion Karrion Kross pop in on a Monday Night Raw, I believe, without any pre hype or hyperbole or any skits or vignettes welcoming him to the main roster. And we've all sat in shock and befuddlement when Karrion Kross lost a match to Jeff Hardy via, kind of a fluky, cheating pinfall. And, for the last couple of years, we've kind of just accepted Jeff Hardy as a member of the mid card, feuding with the likes of Sheamus and exploring some issues of his own personal life on television with his own addictions, Jeff Hardy, that is. So, not that Jeff Hardy's a bad wrestler, he's a legend, but he is flawed, and he was kind of a mid-card guy. So to see the NXT dominant champion, who hadn't been beaten, as far as I know, on NXT at all, come in and kind of lose to a mid-card act like Jeff Hardy at this point was very embarrassing for Karrion Kross fans. I don't know if Karrion Kross himself, the real guy, felt embarrassed, but we kind of felt bad for him. Then he comes in, and he's the next couple of weeks, he's kind of repackaged a bit, and he's wearing this Demolition Kross outfit that I called it. I think I dubbed the term Demolition Kross because it looked like the Red Demolition member. And the whole time he's not with his lovely lady friend Scarlett Bordeaux. She's still in NXT, not doing much, but she's on the payroll. But she's in NXT where she and Karrion Kross work together, and we're a great act. We're a great team, whatever you want to call it. So it was very frustrating this summer. A lot of debate, myself included. I released 2 or 3 videos with Karrion Kross as a subject matter and Keith Lee. And Keith Lee was also suffering from wearing the muumuu, having his music changed, eventually coming back as Bearcat Lee. And not that every wrestler has to win every single match, but when you kind of establish guys like Karrion Kross and Keith Lee as dominant factors, even put dominant Dijakovic in there, and they put him with that Retribution group, that was really ridiculous and absurd. When you see some of these dominant NXT wrestlers that we all kind of think that Triple H is championing, and they're being humiliated and degraded and used poorly by any stretch of the imagination on the main roster, it's easy for wrestling fans to get cynical. And I'm so far cynical with the WWE that I encourage people not to watch it. I mean, or limit your watching. Watch only the pay-per-views. Don't watch the weekly programs, because the weekly programs are a massive waste of time. So now, here we are. Just last week, all these talents were released last Thursday. It's only Monday. So, I mean, we're talking literally about 4 days ago. And Karrion Kross, as of yesterday, and thanks to my pal Kevin Castle, we often debate this topic of Killer Kross along with Johnny Z, who's on here. But we debate these topics quite a bit. And Kevin shared the video of Killer Kross, and my initial thought, I knew that Kevin was watching this thing. He said he was proud of the guy. My thing was, well, you know what? Is Killer Kross watching a Mike Messier short film? Is Killer Kross supporting me? And the answer is no. Either he doesn't know who I am, and that's fine, or he's got other things to do. He's trying to repackage his career. So I kind of think quickly in my mind, is it up to me to watch this guy's, vignette that he's put together, and that's the new trend for these wrestlers. It's not totally original, whether it's EC3 or Braun Strowman or whoever else. They all make their kind of little retribution videos, or little back to things videos. What would Luthez do? Chiming in with doing Vince things. Yeah, Vince doing Vince things. Lou, can you imagine if Luthez wrestled in the WWE? They would have him come out and he'd have like a little pistol, like a little toy pistol, and they call him the shooter. You know what I mean? Like, that's how McMahon and Pritchard think. You know what I mean? I've got to wonder if the absence of Pat Patterson or somebody to talk reason to these guys about real wrestling is why these, idiotic thinkings of Pritchard and Vince now rule the WWE. They need some more people by that pool. You know what I'm saying? To balance out their imaginations. But what I decided, out of respect to Kevin Castle, out of respect to Johnny Z, out of respect to Karrion Kross, Killer Kross himself, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to watch this video. So I'm outside right now. I'm getting my morning breath of fresh air, and I decide to go ahead and watch the video. And I was impressed, and I did like it, and I thought it was very good. I encourage you, after you watch this video, to watch it if you haven't already watched it. But I thought it was telling the story. More was achieved in that 3-minute video for Killer Kross, which I'll now refer to him. We will not use his slave name anymore. We'll use Killer Kross. I have more respect for him now than I ever did with him losing to Jeff Hardy, him putting on the Demolition Kross mask. It's just amazing that this guy had it. I mean, the WWE is such a joke because they always say, well, does the guy have the it factor? The wrestlers oftentimes have the it factor, but the WWE makes it the shit factor. They find a way, and I'm going to, Killer Kross, right there on the scroll. I already corrected it. I'm not using his former name. The WWE finds a way to bury these talents, to try and Red Rooster a guy into oblivion. Keith Lee, Killer Kross, Djokovic is still there. And I mean, the other thing is, obviously, it's very frustrating as a fan because you wonder why these wrestlers keep going over there. I mean, why do they think that they're the exception? Well, there's a bit of brainwashing there. There's a bit of, I don't know, the term's not really gaslighting, but it's they buy into it. They buy into you've got to go to the big time. How good will you will be unless you go to the WWE? They buy into that crap. So that's on them, because we've seen wrestler after wrestler, talent after talent go over there and they get humiliated and degraded and flash funk. Okay. Bob checking in. I, for one, am glad to see Killer Kross and Keith Lee and others are gone from WWE. I hope to God that they find a better place to be at, AEW or Impact or wherever they end up. And second, what do you think of the XPW event from last night? That's if you have seen it. Didn't see it, Bob, to be honest with you. I went out for a nice dinner, a nice meal to an Indian restaurant. While you were watching XPW, I was probably eating chicken biryani and samosas, having a fine meal with some good people. So, and then I, relocated to where I was going, and that's just the truth. So I didn't see it. If you saw it, you can tell me what you think. I don't know how much it cost, and I wish them well. Like I said, I saw the XPW back in the original almost 20 years ago, Baptized in Blood, Shane Douglas, all that stuff. The advertising, I really didn't see any advertising, guys, and I'm on YouTube and I'm on Facebook and Twitter. The only thing I heard from it, Bob, was really you and Eric. Eric was also on this threads a lot. So they didn't do a good job of advertising if they couldn't reach me, because I'm pretty easily reached when it comes to wrestling stuff. You know what I mean? So they need to expand their marketing. And I know that it's tough, and a lot of it is word of mouth marketing. So you and Eric did your job in helping them, but they didn't really help themselves. You know what I mean? So I hope that it was successful, but I didn't see it, is the answer. What else? So here we go with Killer Kross, guys. And it's just, I'm really hoping there will be a little bit of bittersweet revenge for me if Killer Kross ends up in AEW and is fighting Miro at some point for the TNT title, because that's what I've been predicting all along, or the TBS title, whatever they're going. I guess it's the TNT title. But my point is, I'm happy for him, and I'm ashamed for the WWE, and most importantly for its defenders, for the WWE fans who constantly defend the WWE. What further evidence do you need? And furthermore, how can you call yourself a Killer Kross fan and be a WWE fan at the same time? Once they've buried and humiliated and tried to Red Rooster this guy into oblivion, and you've seen what he's capable of outside the WWE in just 3 short days with this video, The Man from Cemetery Town, how can you decide that you're going to watch Roman Reigns on a Friday night? How can you justify that behavior? I know that they just buried Killer Kross, and I know that they just buried Keith Lee for a year. But let me tune in and watch Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman do a 10-minute promo like they've done every week for a year. Do you guys have nothing better to do with your time? I mean, it's just odd to me. It's just odd and upsetting to me that WWE defenders will drink the Kool-Aid to the point that the Kool-Aid replaces their blood. You know what I mean? It's like that age-old question: is the Kool-Aid man the pitcher, or is he the Kool-Aid? Well, in any event, the WWE fan is so staunch in their defense of this company that they'll see talent after talent be destroyed and humiliated and degraded when there's no cause for it. Yet they'll continue to watch the WWE, even when it's their own favorites, like a Killer Kross and Keith Lee and others. They'll continue to watch this company. They'll continue to support it as if they have no choice in the matter, which I always think is interesting. The WWE fan kind of lives in a bubble where they don't feel that they have a choice. Like there's no other wrestling to watch. There's plenty of other wrestling. It's not just AEW or Impact or MLW. You can go back in time like Lou Thez, and you can find plenty of things on YouTube. You can find the Jim Crockett Promotions wrestling library. You can find Japanese wrestling. You can find New Japan, All Japan. You can find the Days of the Territory. It's in some ways, and I had this debate yesterday with Frank Todaro, who's a wrestling enthusiast, and was saying that wrestling's at an all-time low, that it's at 94 to 95 levels. I said, I don't think so. It's never been easier to be a wrestling fan, and you've never had more choice, because you have all these different outlets. You have DVDs, and you have streaming, and you have YouTube, and you have Amazon Prime has wrestling from Detroit. I mean, there's more wrestling that you can watch now than any other point in history as a fan. In fact, there's too much in some ways, because there's other things in life to do. I mean, there's films to see, there's personal engagements to take part in. Now that we're kind of coming out of the shadows of this god-awful worldwide situation, there's things that we can all be doing to enjoy our lives. So as a wrestling fan, you really have no excuse to watch 5 or more hours of WWE and to continue to support this promotion that degrades, humiliates, and mishandles great wrestlers like Killer Kross and Keith Lee. So if you're supporting this promotion, if you're sucking your Roman Reigns popsicle every Friday night, I just question your integrity as a human being, or perhaps your intelligence. You're acting in a slavish manner to this company that whips you with horrible wrestling, and you suffer on this plantation of wrestling ignorance. How else can I say it? I mean, I'm using a horrible analogy here because I'm trying to wake idiots up, and WWE fans at this point are pure idiots. If you're watching this promotion, you have to look in the mirror and spit in your own face, the reflection of your own face, and maybe punch the mirror and break the glass on your own fist to realize what an idiot you are for continuing to watch this promotion that degrades on a regular basis very good talents. That's your fault. That's what you're doing on a Friday night, on a Monday night. So I really don't want to see people getting all hot and bothered for Monday Night Raw tonight. If you're watching Monday Night Raw after what you've seen from this company, what they've done to Keith Lee, what they've done to Killer Kross, you have to question your own integrity as a human being. You have to question your own value as a person. If you're going to waste 3 hours of your precious life, we're all going to be dead soon enough. So if you're watching 3 hours of Monday Night Raw, I have to question your value to society. Quite honestly, you are part of the problem. If you are watching Monday Night Raw, you are supporting the Bruce Pritchards and the Vince McMahon Juniors and the horrible people at WWE to provide horrible wrestling and to waste precious minutes off your precious life. How else can I explain it? I've been explaining it for 2 or 3 years. Some people have woken up, some people have wised up. I started my videos in 2017, and by 2019, we had an old new promotion, AEW. Is that a coincidence? Perhaps. But I've spoken up and I've changed the world for myself and for others that have listened to me. For those that refuse to listen to my words and continue to watch WWE, you are taking a knife and stabbing Keith Lee in the back. You are stabbing Killer Kross in the back. You have not learned from your own mistakes. And most importantly, you're wasting precious minutes and days off your own life and existence. So if that's the way that you want to live, then go ahead and live it. But I cannot condone that behavior. That's disgraceful to me, and I'm ashamed of you if you're watching WWE. Quite honestly, I'm ashamed of you and your lack of integrity and your lack of foresight and your lack of wisdom. And I'm here. I am blatantly describing to you why you're wasting your life watching the WWE, and you will continue to do so, won't you? That's your weakness as a human being, not mine. Okay, so there you fucking have it. So Killer Kross comes out, does this wonderful video, more entertaining, more intelligent, more well spoken in 3 minutes than he ever was as Demolition Kross on Monday Night Raw. And it's just another shining example of a talent doing better without the E than he was doing in it. And now there's all these reports of Keith Lee having an attitude problem. I didn't even bother to click on that goddamn clickbait article because I know it's bullshit. The guy had no attitude problem. That's WWE trying to bury a guy on the way out. So it's a disgraceful promotion. It's a disgraceful company. And if you're watching it, knowing all this, if you're an informed viewer who knows all these issues and continues to watch, what's wrong with you? What's your problem, idiot? So there you fucking go, folks. It's Monday morning. The world is our fucking oyster. Let's eat that motherfucker up. Subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel. Thank you very much. Actually, you're welcome very much, because I'm the one that provided all these goddamn insights, not you.